If you think this is the cause of your bad luck, then let's burn it and run. But the moment the flames touched its fur, everything changed. When she turned back, what she saw froze her soul. The burnt teddy bear crawling out of the fire, alive.
The dusty street was busier than Amaka expected. She drove slowly, following the directions on her phone, glancing left and right to be sure she was on the right path. Her heart pounded with excitement. This was it, a new chapter in her life. She finally spotted the gate, a wide black iron gate standing tall at the end of the compound. She pulled over by the side of the road, put her car in park, and took a deep breath. This is it, Amaka, she whispered to herself, smiling. Your own house, your own space, your own peace. Her eyes lit up. The landlord had told her she would be the only tenant in the entire compound, a spacious house with no one else around. That meant no noisy neighbors, no loud quarrels, no unnecessary disturbances. Just her. As an introvert, it felt like paradise. She giggled to herself. Finally, I can live my full introverted life in peace. She stepped out of her car, locked it, and walked toward the gate. But the moment she touched it, she froze. Why was everyone staring at her? Across the street, a group of women sat under a mango tree, peeling melon seeds and gossiping loudly. The moment Amaka walked up, their voices dropped. Their eyes followed her every move. She smiled nervously and forced a greeting. "Good afternoon, Ma," she said, raising her hand slightly. The women didn't return her smile. They exchanged looks. Then one of them, a plump woman with a big scarf tied around her head, leaned toward the other. Mama Ada. "So, this man has brought someone into that house again? That's it. Until he uses everybody in this life," she hissed. Mama Ada. "Shouldn't we tell her? At least warn her? God forbid. Tell her what? Do you want her to think we're jealous? I beg, leave her. This one will soon start eyeing people's husbands. You know how they behave." They both laughed, shaking their heads. Amaka blinked, forcing her smile to remain. She had heard every word. She wasn't deaf. Her ears burned, but she kept her cool. What exactly are they talking about? She thought. Use everybody? What does that even mean? Determined not to look bothered, she unlocked the gate and pushed it open. The compound spread out before her, wide and strangely quiet. On one side stood the bungalow she would be living in, painted a dull cream with windows that seemed to watch her. On the other side, the yard stretched out. Plenty of space, but empty, too empty. It was beautiful in a way, but there was something haunting about it. Not ugly, not broken, just unsettling. Amaka shook her head. "Stop it, Amaka. You've been looking for a house for weeks. Don't start imagining things." She stepped in quickly, eager to shut the gate behind her. But as she reached for the knob, a sharp sting pierced her finger. "Ah!" she yelped, pulling her hand back. Blood welled up from a small cut at the tip of her finger. She sucked at it quickly, her heart thumping. "How? I didn't even see anything sharp there." From outside, she heard laughter. The women again. She bit her lip and turned away from the gate, trying to ignore them. Inside, the air felt cooler. She dragged her small travel bag toward the house and unlocked the door. The living room welcomed her with silence. It was neat, almost too neat. White tiles, plain walls, a faint smell of paint lingering in the air. Everything was in order, yet Amaka felt watched. She set her bag down and looked around. "This is fine," she said out loud, trying to convince herself. "It's spacious, it's clean, it's mine." She giggled softly, shaking her head. "Imagine me having all this space to myself. No roommates, just peace." Her phone buzzed. It was her mother calling. She quickly answered. "Mama, my daughter." "Have you reached?" "Yes, Mummy. I just opened the gate now. The place is very big. I'm the only tenant here. Can you imagine?" "Ah, that's good. Oh, thank God for you. At least you can focus on your work now. God has blessed you. Amen, Mama." It's quiet here. Almost too quiet. Her mother chuckled. "Quiet is good. Don't start looking for noise where there is peace. Just settle down. Tomorrow, start your new job with joy." They spoke a little more before she hung up. Amaka stood in the middle of the room, breathing deeply. She tried to relax, but something tugged at her mind. The stares from the women, their words, the strange cut on her finger. She brushed it off. "I beg. It's just normal compound gossip. Nothing more." Still, when she lay on her mattress that night, her eyes stayed open longer than usual. She couldn't shake the feeling that the compound, quiet as it was hiding something. Something was watching her. Amaka turned on her side, hugging her pillow. Her instinct had never failed her, yet tonight she kept brushing it aside. Was she just being stubborn, desperate to enjoy the luxury of finally having her own place? Or was something truly wrong? "Oh God, help me," she prayed silently, shutting her eyes. At first, the compound was filled with the ordinary hum of night, crickets, a faint breeze through the trees. But slowly, new sounds began to creep in. A light rustle near the gate, a soft thud somewhere at the back of the house, little things that made her heart skip. She held her breath, straining her ears. Silence would follow, then another sound, just enough to keep her uneasy. Her chest rose and fell too quickly. "It's nothing," she whispered. "Just an old compound settling. I'll get used to it." Still, she pressed the pillow tighter to her chest. Every creak of the zinc, every distant cry in the night, made it harder to relax. By the time she finally drifted into a shallow sleep, it was almost dawn. Amaka woke up late the next morning. She had stayed awake for hours, moving from one corner of the room to another, folding clothes, arranging her shoes, and trying to convince herself that she was settling in. But it wasn't really the unpacking that kept her busy. Deep down, she knew she was only distracting herself. The house itself refused to let her rest. Every sound carried more weight than it should. The faint creak of the roof, the distant cry of an animal, even the whistle of the wind through the window. It was as if the walls were listening, waiting for her to grow quiet so they could remind her she was alone. She tossed and turned, telling herself not to panic. Maybe it's just because no one has lived here for a long time. The house is just adjusting. Or maybe it's me adjusting. New houses always felt strange at first. Still, the silence pressed on her chest, and the little noises grew sharper the longer she stayed awake. By the time sleep finally came, it was almost dawn. When she woke, she was already late for work. Her eyes were heavy, her head pounded, but she forced herself up. She couldn't afford to be late on her first week, not after the way her boss had looked at her with pride during her promotion announcement. She hurriedly applied her last bit of foundation, grabbed her bag, and dashed out. Unlocking the gate felt like a chore. Another reminder that she was alone in this big compound. She pushed it open, jumped into her car, and sped off. Her phone rang as she hit the main road. It was Kim, her best friend. "Hello, Ami. How are you doing?" Amaka smiled despite her rush. "I'm fine, my dear." "On my way to work already." Kim's voice was playful as always. "So, how's the new house?" "Enjoying your bought mansion?" Amaka laughed. "Bought? My sister, I didn't buy any house, I rented it." Kim giggled. "Okay, Madam Tenant, but have you even seen your landlord yet? Has he come around?" Amaka rolled her eyes. "He has not. This man is not even scared of me claiming his house. No agreement, nothing. I just made the payment and he gave me the location." "Wait," Kim's tone dropped a little. "How about his profile? At least so he won't deny your payment later." Amaka frowned slightly as she drove. "Babe, this man doesn't have any profile picture. From Facebook to WhatsApp, nothing. I even requested for it and he said it wasn't necessary. That he comes visiting every night." Kim burst into laughter. "Every night as how? He wants to come and rape you or what?" Amaka laughed too, shaking her head. "You and your mouth." They laughed together, but when the call ended, Amaka's smile faded. Her mind replayed his words. "I come visiting every night." What exactly did that mean? She parked outside First Bank Nigeria, straightened her dress, and walked briskly toward the office. Her heart lifted as she remembered she had just been promoted. It still felt like a dream. Everything seemed to be moving forward for her. But just as she approached the glass door, her phone buzzed again. This time, it was her boss calling. She picked immediately. "Good morning, sir." His sharp voice cut her off. "Amaka, in my office. Now." Her stomach dropped. She hurried inside, her heels clicking on the floor as she made her way to his office. When she stepped in, the look on his face almost made her stumble. His eyes were hard, his jaw tight. "Amaka, I don't understand you. You've just been promoted, yet this is how you behave? Coming late? Acting careless?" "I'm sorry, sir. I had a rough night. It won't happen again." "You can leave." That was all. No chance to explain, no gentle warning, just bitterness spilling out of his eyes as if she had deeply offended him. Amaka walked out slowly, stunned. This is not normal. Just lateness, and he looked at me as if he hates me. Is he possessed or something? She sat at her desk, shaken, but tried to push it aside and focus. The day dragged. By evening she was exhausted. She drove out, praying the road would be free so she could get home early and rest. But fate had other plans. As she turned onto a busy road, her car jerked violently. The steering grew stiff, and before she could react, the car rolled to a halt, right in the middle of the lane. "Ah, not now!" Amaka banged the steering. Cars behind her blared their horns. Drivers shouted insults. "Madam, move this thing now!" Who they give license to useless people like this? Her face burned with embarrassment. She pushed the door open to step out, but disaster struck. Her shoe heel got caught on the edge of the pedal. In her panic to free it, she twisted hard, and the car rolled slightly, straight onto her foot. "Jesus!" she screamed as pain shot up her leg. Before she could even recover, 2 policemen were already at the scene. Instead of helping her, they dragged her up by the arm. "Madam, what nonsense is this? You're causing traffic. Do you want to kill people?" "Officer, please, I didn't plan it. My car just stopped, and my leg—" "Shut up. Enter the van." "But I'm injured, can't you see?" They ignored her plea. The pain in her leg throbbed like fire as she limped toward their vehicle. Tears filled her eyes. "What kind of problem is this, Jesus?" she muttered under her breath. As the police van drove off with her inside, horns and insults still echoed behind. She closed her eyes, the words of the landlord replaying again in her head like a curse. "I come visiting every night." Amaka limped home after the police had kept her for hours at the station over the car that stopped on the road. She pushed the gate open with one hand and dragged herself into the house. Dropping her bag on the floor, she went straight to the bed and fell on it. Her leg hurt badly, her eyes were heavy, and her heart was weak. She didn't even think of food. Sleep carried her immediately. Hours later, her eyes popped open. She checked the time, 2:07 a.m. She groaned, reached for her laptop, and thought, "Let me just clear a few office things before morning." The moment she connected to the internet, a notification popped up. It was a new mail from her office. Curious, she opened it. Her heart stopped. "Hello, Amaka. We regret to inform you that your position has been retrieved. A new officer will be coming from Abuja to take over. Until further notice, stay away from the bank premises. Any future adjustment will be communicated." Her hands shook on the keyboard. She read the message again, but the words didn't change. Her chest grew tight, and tears rolled down her cheeks. This was the job she had prayed for. The job she announced to her family with joy. The job she was hoping would take care of her siblings and her mother. Gone, just like that. She dropped the laptop and held her head with both hands. "Everything is going wrong. Since I entered this house, nothing has gone well." Her body trembled. She cried until her voice cracked, then something interrupted her tears. A sound on the zinc. Slow, scratching, moving. Amaka froze. She wiped her face, listening. The sound came again, clearer this time. She stood up carefully, her legs still hurting, and followed the noise. It dragged her attention toward the front door. Her heart raced. She unlocked the door and opened it. Right there on the step, she saw it. A red toy, a teddy bear. Sitting as if someone had carefully placed it there. Her breath caught. "How? Who put this here?" she whispered. She bent slowly, picked it up, and examined it. Fear gripped her chest. No child lived in this compound, no neighbor, no visitor. The toy felt strange in her hands, too heavy for its size. Goosebumps spread across her skin. Her instincts screamed. She flung it back to the floor immediately. She limped back to her bed, pulled the blanket over herself, and stared at the ceiling. Sleep didn't return. Her heart beat fast until morning. When daylight finally came, she jumped up, rushed to the door, and opened it. The step was empty. She searched the compound, by the tank, behind the walls, near the gate, but the teddy bear was gone, nowhere to be found. Amaka stood in the middle of the yard, shivering. This house is wrong," she whispered to herself. She hurried back inside, grabbed her phone, and dialed the one person who would listen. But her hand froze before the call connected. Should she call Kim? Yes, Kim would rush down. But her mind wavered. What if she called her mother instead? She thought of her mum, probably awake now, washing cassava or boiling water for pap. But she shook her head. Her mum would never believe her. She would say, "Amaka, you are just unsettled because it's a new place. Pray and sleep." How could she even tell her she had lost the job that was supposed to feed all of them? Her fingers trembled over the phone screen. She ended the call before it rang. She buried her face in her hands. "This job was my lifeline," she muttered. "How do I tell her that the very thing she was thanking God for last month is gone? What will she think of me? That I didn't take it seriously? That I misbehaved?" Her tears started again, wetting her palms. Her mind spun in circles. The job was gone. Her reputation was gone. And now this toy. Strange, heavy, scary. She looked around the room as if the red toy might suddenly reappear beside her bed. She whispered to herself, "Is this how this cursed house will ruin her forever?" First her dad died and left them. Then hardship swallowed them. And now, when I finally saw a little light, everything is crashing again. She stood up, restless, limping from one corner of the room to another. Her phone buzzed with Kim's missed call notification. She hadn't realized Kim had tried reaching her earlier. She wanted to call back, but her fear grew worse. What if the next time she saw the toy, it wouldn't just sit there? What if it moved? What if it came closer? What if it hurt her? The thought made her chest pound harder. "It's almost noon already," she whispered to herself, pacing. "Who knows the next thing that toy will do? Maybe it will kill me in this house. Maybe it has already marked me." She pressed the phone to her chest, whispering a shaky prayer. "God, please, don't let this be how my story ends." Finally, she scrolled back to Kim's number, pressed call, and this time she didn't cancel. But this time she didn't pick. She slept off and had a dream of the toy running towards her, then vanished. Amaka could barely sleep after the toy vanished. Every time she closed her eyes, she felt as if something was standing by her bed, watching. By evening, she couldn't take it anymore. She grabbed her phone and called the one person who would always tell her the truth, even if it came with sarcasm. "Kim, please, I need you to come over. Tonight. I'm not safe in this house." Her friend burst out laughing through the phone. "Amaka? What is it again? Did your quiet mansion turn to shrine overnight?" "Kim, I'm serious," Amaka snapped, her voice shaky. "Something strange is happening here. Please, just come. I can't explain everything over the phone." After a long pause, Kim sighed. "Fine. Let me pack my bag. But if I get there and it's Rat that is disturbing you, just know you'll pay for my bolt fare." Amaka almost smiled. That was Kim, never missing a chance to add humor. By 7 p.m., Kim's knock echoed at the gate. Amaka limped out to open. Kim entered with her overnight bag slung on her shoulder, her eyes scanning the compound. "So this is the place?" It looks fine to me. Spacious. Are you sure you're not just lonely?" Amaka folded her arms. "Kim, I know what I saw and what I heard." Kim dropped her bag, fanned herself with her hand, and rolled her eyes. "Okay, gist me then. Where's this demon you said is living with you? Let me greet him." Amaka shook her head. "I'll explain later. Let's just get food before it's too late." They stepped out of the compound, walking to the small kiosk down the street. The air was cool, the streetlights faint. As they waited for the woman to pack their food, an elderly woman shuffled past them slowly, leaning on a cane. Amaka froze. She hadn't seen this woman before, but there was something about her eyes. Sharp, knowing, as if she had been waiting for Amaka. The woman stopped, turned her gaze directly on Amaka, and whispered, "Stop throwing away what is not yours. One day, the owner will come for you." Amaka's heart skipped. "Mama, what did you say?" The woman shook her head, spat on the ground, and kept walking. Kim burst into laughter, almost spilling the food she was holding. "Amaka! You see your life. Old woman just said one village proverb and you're already shaking. I beg, calm down. Don't start claiming spiritual attack where there is none." But Amaka wasn't laughing. The woman's voice echoed in her ears even as they walked back to the house. Night came quickly. They sat together in the living room, eating and chatting, Kim doing most of the talking. She joked about men, office gossip, and everything in between. But the compound didn't let them relax. By 10 p.m., the zinc above them rattled again, as if footsteps were dragging across it. Kim frowned. "What's that?" Amaka's eyes widened. "I told you." "That's what I hear every night." Kim shrugged. "Could be cats. Or wind." But then came the sound of laughter. Faint. Childlike. Amaka froze, spoon halfway to her mouth. "Did you hear that?" Kim dropped her spoon slowly. "Hear what?" The laughter echoed again, longer this time. A soft giggle like a little child playing in the corridor. Kim swallowed hard. "Okay, maybe I heard it," Amaka whispered. "There's no child in this compound." The lights flickered once. Both women stared at each other. Kim forced a laugh, but her voice trembled. Maybe Nepa children." Amaka didn't even smile. "Stop joking." By midnight, they were still awake, whispering to each other in the dark. Suddenly, there was a dull thud against the door. Both women jumped. "What was that?" Kim hissed. Amaka slowly stood, her knees shaking. She tiptoed to the door, Kim close behind her. With trembling hands, she opened it. There it was, the red teddy bear, sitting neatly at the doorstep as if it had been waiting for them. Amaka gasped, covering her mouth. Her whole body went cold. Kim stared, then scoffed loudly. "So, this is it? This is the demon you've been crying about? Amaka, it's just a toy." Amaka shook her head violently. "No, Kim. It wasn't here before. It just appeared." Kim picked it up, twirled it in her hand, and smirked. "Nonsense." "Okay, if it's evil, then let's burn it. Tonight, we finish this drama." Amaka's heart pounded. "Burn it?" "Kim, I don't think that's a good idea." Kim cut her off. "Do you want to keep crying every night? Or do you want peace? Let's burn this thing." They fetched kerosene, poured it on the toy, and struck a match. The flame caught instantly, but instead of burning like normal cloth, the teddy released a thick, black smoke that filled the air unnaturally fast. Amaka coughed, waving her hands. Her eyes watered from the sting. Kim laughed nervously. "See? It's just old fabric. That's why it's smelling like this." Her words cut off suddenly. Amaka turned. "Kim!" Her friend stood frozen, eyes wide, lips trembling. Her face was pale, her body stiff. "Kim, what is it?" Kim's voice was a whisper, shaking. "Amaka." "Who is that child inside your house?" Amaka's blood ran cold. She spun around toward the living room, and in the swirl of the smoke, she thought she saw it too. A small shadow, short, hunched, with glowing eyes, standing just beyond the doorway. Amaka couldn't breathe properly. She crouched beside Kim's body, trembling, her face streaked with sweat and tears. The skin of her best friend looked roasted, darkened as though fire had licked her alive, yet the match they lit had long gone out. Her hands shook as she grabbed her phone. She dialed the one person who could never ignore her cries again. "Mama, please come," she sobbed into the phone. "I can't explain. Just come. Please come now." Her mother's voice was sharp at first. "Amaka, what is it again?" Every day, fear, fear, fear. But the way Amaka wept silenced her. By the time dawn broke, her mother was at the gate, knocking loudly. Amaka staggered out to open. The moment Mama stepped in and saw Kim lying on the mattress with her body burnt, she gasped, pressing her hand to her chest. "Jesus Christ! Amaka, what happened here?" "Mama." Amaka broke down again. I told you. I told you something was wrong in this house." Her mother's face hardened. She turned to her sharply. "Did you pray before entering this house? Did you even ask God before moving in?" Amaka shook her head slowly, tears still pouring. "Mama, I was just so happy. I thought this was my breakthrough." Mama's eyes softened then. She reached out and touched her daughter's face. My child, forgive me too. I ignored the signs when you called me before. I told you it was nothing. But tonight... She turned her eyes toward the ceiling, her jaw set. Tonight, it must end. That night, the three of them stayed awake. Kim lay silently on the mattress, groaning faintly. Amaka sat beside her, holding her hand, whispering silent prayers that she would not die, because if Kim died here, every finger would point at her. Her mother moved like a soldier across the compound. She murmured prayers under her breath, her voice low but steady, scriptures falling one after another. She carried a bottle of anointing oil and a small bowl of herbs soaked in water. She sprinkled them across the corners of the house, the gate, the doorway, even around the bed. Amaka watched her, confused but strangely comforted. She whispered in her heart, God, please don't let me bury my friend. Don't let me bury my future here. The hours dragged. The usual noise, the footsteps on the zinc, the cats crying, the faint giggles. None of them came. Instead, the silence was heavy, pressing on their chests. By 3 a.m., Amaka was shaking uncontrollably, not from fear, but from the weight of waiting. Her mother walked in from the compound, her wrapper tied tightly across her chest. I didn't see anything, Mama whispered, but the air is not clean. Something is hiding. They prayed harder together until dawn broke. At 6 a.m., the cock crowed faintly outside the walls. The first light of morning slipped into the compound. For the first time since Amaka moved in, the place looked calm. Too calm. Then the knock came. Bam, bam, bam. Heavy, angry, Amaka jumped. Her mother rushed to the gate, flung it open, and froze. A man stood there. His face was burnt, his skin charred and peeling, his clothes hanging loosely from his body, as if he had walked through fire. His eyes were red, filled with rage. "What are you doing in my house?" he growled. His voice was gravel, thick and deep. "You evil people. Pack your things. Leave now, before you bring more destruction." Amaka staggered backward, clutching her chest. "Mama, that's him. That's the landlord. That's the man who said he comes every night." The man's eyes burned hotter. "I warned you. You touched what is mine. You think you can stay here? No one stays here." He spat on the ground and pointed toward the gate. "Pack out." Mama stood her ground, her voice trembling but firm. "The God of heaven rebuke you. Whatever covenant you have made with this house, it will not consume my child." But the man only hissed, turned his back, and walked away slowly, his burnt feet dragging on the earth until he disappeared into the street. Amaka and Mama wasted no time. They packed what little they could carry, determined never to sleep in that house again. As they stepped out of the compound, Kim groaned louder. Amaka looked down and gasped. Her friend's burnt skin was changing. The dark, roasted flesh was peeling away, revealing new skin beneath, fresh and unmarked. "Mama, look," Amaka cried, tears filling her eyes. Mama pressed her palms together. "Thank you, Jesus." Neighbors had gathered outside, whispering, their eyes wide. Some shook their heads, others muttered under their breath. "Thank God they didn't kill this one too." The house has spared them. At least, they're leaving alive. The words stung Amaka, but she didn't care. She was just grateful that Kim was breathing. Right there on the street, as she leaned against her mother's shoulder, her phone buzzed. She wiped her tears and checked. It was an email from her office. Her eyes widened as she read aloud. "Dear Amaka, due to new changes at headquarters, your position at the bank has been restored. Kindly resume tomorrow morning." Her mouth fell open. Tears spilled freely down her cheeks. She pressed the phone to her chest and wept. "Mama, I don't even know what to say." Mama hugged her tightly. "Say thank you to God, my daughter. That is enough." They drove away that morning, never looking back at the house again. As the car rolled down the road, Amaka looked out the window one last time. The gate of the compound stood wide open, silent, as though nothing had ever happened inside. She shivered and faced forward. Later, when Amaka finally told her story, She looked straight into the camera, her eyes red, but her voice steady. Viewers, listen to me. Never enter a new house without prayer. Never ignore signs when your spirit feels uneasy. I laughed at the warnings. I thought it was just ordinary life, but I almost lost my friend. I almost lost everything. Always pray before you enter any new place. Always ask God to guide you. Don't be too excited to forget your safety. Please, learn from my story. Her voice cracked, but she forced a smile. Because some houses are not just houses. Some landlords are not just landlords, and not every blessing is truly yours until it has been secured in prayer.